We all missed you. So you looking for a spinner candle off that, Jeremy? What are you seeing the short entries? What indicators that?
Bad news bears. right? Well, our overnight low though is just below us. And we do have UB from overnight to clean up just below us. I just took profits, but I'd like to reload if we get a bounce. Oh, I was short. Yeah, we had such a strong move and then we just kind of me. We might have a hard reversal here. Who knows how far we'll go, but yeah. RTY though is selling off pretty convincingly. And that always is a canary in the coal mine. It seems to be leading both up and down lately. I'm loving my QQQ wheel trade. That thing is just a moneymaker. Oh, it's been great. I'd love to see a nice big pullback now and get put a few shares, a few hundred shares. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of like basic stuff. I mean, everybody has their own twist on that wheels trade, but you just got to find the right underlying for your management level. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, easily. And you just have to have the right size account and manage. You want to be in something that you want to own. That's the only key, or that you know you can get out of if you don't want to own it. That takes a little more management if you're wanting. I do put on like as soon as I get sell a put, I'll put a buy order at 90%. If it bounces enough for me to take 90% profit in a couple of days, I'll just take it. I don't need to sit in that trade any longer than that. It's going the wrong way anyway, make take the money. Let me check. I'll mute me and see if I can hear you on. Yeah, there's no sound. Yep, there's no sound. It's delayed. Oh, it's delayed. It's my voice you can hear. So, those of you listening to Jeremy, he's this little bird on my shoulder. So tell me what you want the YouTubers to know. I'll let them.
Let's see if that works. Hey, now I'm live. Jeez. Sorry about that, guys. Every time I update the software or something, it does this. It just cuts off audio and really messes me up. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, let me go back into our 5-second chart, and I'm going to reset our fan a little bit because we're starting to see a possible 1-for-1 bearish move. We're looking at yesterday's trend. Accumulation has just broken support. I almost expect a retrace back to previous support, right around 426.50, and then a drop over for a 1-for-1. It kind of puts us right on top of a known liquidity zone, and I've been flashing back and forth between the daily chart and the short-term chart to see it. I haven't added it to this look yet. Hold on one second. Let me get this in the module. Grr. I had to expand it to show it to you. I'll draw it real quick. So we have this little guy right here is our known area of support, and we're just at the base of it. It's a liquidity zone. And let me see if I can line it up with that candle very well. First I'll stretch it out. And I'll go really in tight on this candle here. We're going to swag it just a little bit, but we're going to get really stinking close. There we go. In case you're wondering what swag stands for, it's scientific wild ass guess. All right. Now let's get back into our 2-hour chart real quick and see what we have. We have rejection of liquidity above, and we have price right at the base of liquidity below. So this is our supply zone and demand zone. Well, if we breach this demand zone, we can get a quick 1-for-1 down to the next support level, and it happens to be 50% of this 1-for-1 here, right back to support. Puts us about 422-ish. So I'm going to throw a horizontal line on there around 422. Just as kind of a reminder, if we breach this, then we know that's a known target. Pretty simple, right? So if we get a 1-for-1 out of that, that doesn't quite take us there, but it does take us within the previous range bar thereabout. So that would take us to about 423.70. So that's also a known area of support. We can add yet another support line right there. Sometimes I can get these to work, sometimes I can't. There we go. So if this, then that. If we breach this liquidity zone of supply here, or sorry, demand here, this becomes a supply zone, and we wrench right down to the next zone. Let's go to the 15-minute chart, and I'm going to do a reset. There we go. So this gives us exactly where we're at. If we do bounce off the bottom of this liquidity zone, sure, we can resume a bullish trend out of this. If you looked at my daily chart and saw these two big blocks here, that is a bullish 1-for-1. If you were looking at this consolidation, this is our diamond pattern here, of course. This is our diamond pattern bull channel breach that we're coming back to. There is an angular support right here where price is now. So we can continue through this liquidity zone of supply here, short term, and breach that high. But this is going to be where there's a lot of bag holders ready to unload. A lot of people chased this up here and got wrecked. Think some of them are still holding? They could be. But the point of control is an interest zone. So if people are a little bit nervous of it breaching a previous high, they're going to be a little leery here. They're going to wait for this to shake out. But if the market keeps trending higher on equities, and equities are a big part of the S&P 500, particularly Apple, you look at this like a zone of interest, and there's going to be some people who are going to be both buyers and sellers here until we breach that zone. No one's going to know what new price discovery is going to look like. But we can see that there's also a control bar here. I have it marked in purple, and a lot of analysts are kind of in agreement if SPY remains bullish. That's about an analyst target, 437. For the most part, there's a lot of analysts saying doom and gloom, sky's falling, all that crap, but I never really fully believe that. I go and look for the average of what they're saying, and then I kind of just put it as a mark on a chart as a zone of interest. That's it. I already know where the supply and demand zones are. I know where previous interesting zones are, and all I have to do is trade the price action within that. Well, if this, then that. If we get a full 1-for-1 out of this, cool. The other part is this can be your move here. So about half of this move we've made. So if this 1-for-1 follows to resistance and then breaks over, we know it'll still retrace at the same spot, about 410 or 411. So it just gives you a good idea of what to expect for slightly longer term price action. I'm going to go back to our 5-second chart now and show you a couple things of what I've been working with the Bollinger Bands in combination with the fib speed fan. Sorry, brain fart there. Fib speed resistance fan. I'll never get that right. All right, so here I do have a fan already lit up. I'm going to go ahead and probably adjust that fan down to here. Let's go ahead and delete this one and start a new one. And I'm just going to follow a common trend line. I'm going to run it out on that trend line. You can see where the middle of the brown zone is there. That's our common trend line. Right in here. So now we know where all the fib levels are. And as I was saying before, and I'll repeat it again just so we make sure this part of it's recorded on YouTube, and I'll come back later on and record a session of this as a how-to video, because I've been meaning to make a how-to video on this particular strategy. Anyway, so looking at your Bollinger Bands, it'll give you common signals here, and I don't always trust those. So here it's saying long entry plus 2 deviations. It jumped the gun, it set it down here. That would have been a terrible long entry. You would have gotten your stop taken out right here. It would have been best to wait for this to continue rolling over. Although it was a clean lower band poke, and it did have a good buy signal here, I would have waited because the fib levels are going to tell me that was not likely going to bounce very high there. It was going to be a quick retracement of this trend here. And it did. It went right to the 1-for-1, almost to a full 50% retracement of this entire move, but close enough. We had these two big bear bars here and a quick hammer at the bottom. That would have been a better buy signal right there. We got a 1-for-1 and a 2-for-1 done on that. Now we've got the next signal here that came in was a sell signal here for 2 deviations. And yeah, that little pullback would have been tradable as a quick short position. You can see it says SE, it stands for short entry. Cool. That would have been okay. But note of what we're looking at here. This is our liquidity zone. And we're kind of trading from one side to the other. Well, we didn't quite reach the bottom. We had a nice reversal, but we're still likely to hit the top. And look, our common line versus 1 deviation above that, takes us to about the top of that zone. We're about to hit it now. Let's see if we get a sell signal there. Well, there's your Bollinger
Yeah, I'm
Band sell
not seeing
signal.
the sell signals.
Just short term. This one was very short. So this is a leg down to the 20 period and down to a common trend line. Will we get a 1-for-1 or will we bounce here? Typically, this would have been a sell signal with that Bollinger Band poke, but it's not it.
No, I'm not seeing them on the Bollinger Band. That's what I mean.
Oh, when you put them on your trading view?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just slightly different. Let me see. Let me throw it on here. Bollinger Band strategy, I believe, is what I chose.
Yep, that fixed it.
There it is. Okay. I'm actually going to turn that off, though, because well, I guess I can keep it on my grid for now. It just gets a little bit complex when I put it on the grid. So I'll just put it on my 5-second chart. So you get fairly good signals here and there, but you got to pay attention to what the fan's telling you too, and that's the whole point of putting the fib fan in there, because it gives you levels and ranges, and we know this liquidity zone very, very well by now, and we're kind of playing with it very cleanly. Usually when you have a reversal at the bottom of a liquidity zone or near the bottom of a liquidity zone, it'll resume almost typically back to the top, and here we are here just a couple bars away. So what appeared to be a bearish trend day on the opening here is no longer a bearish trend day. We're back to the top of liquidity. We're likely to consolidate here. And we did have the setup for a bearish 1-for-1 on the longer term charts, but we're not confirming that yet. We can still be bulls here, but we're going to see what happens at the top of this range. So if this is going to be a range day, we'll likely stay in this liquidity zone, top to bottom, probably one more time. But if we're going to be a trend day, we'll likely bounce around right here and resume a bull trend. All right, so we have kind of the grain of salt measure where we get these little quick signals that Bollinger Bands will print for us. And like I was saying, you got to make sure you know what you're seeing on a price action before you go and trust those. Because this, if you would have stayed short on this, you would have been chewed up. Been a quick scalp, sure, right to the common trend line, okay, but I probably wouldn't have taken that signal. What we do have is a nice clean 1-for-1 bull move from here to here. That's your leg 1 consolidation. Leg 2 reached exactly 2 fibs above the common line. There should have been a buy signal here, but there wasn't. Could have been one here, there wasn't. Yeah, it looks like we might even get an extension. Watch what happens here. Either we'll pull back here and get a quick sell for a 50% retrace. There we go. Faster than I could say it. Bam, that's almost done. Boom, right to the 20. Very cool. Now we can almost expect a pennant out of this if it holds this area. I might need to make a quick trade. Man, my Tesla butterfly is looking so good. As you know, I'm long a 240, 245 call debit spread, and I'm short a 245, 250 credit spread. And the difference between them is currently almost 40 cents. And I've been walking in and out of the short legs on that a couple times, so I've covered more than a 400% return doing that. And on the last conversion, the trend ran away from me, so I'm just keeping it on. And if it hits 245, I'll make some really incredible profits in that. And if it doesn't quite get there, I can always close this position and take the profit that I've locked in off the table and roll it out to the next expiration. In the meantime, I set up a straight butterfly, just a straight open butterfly on a July 21st expiration, and it's way out there. It's like at the let's see here, it's the 295, 300, 305 butterfly. And same strategy. If it pulls back, I can close the credit spread side of that, take some profit on, and that works to offset the cost in the debit spread side. And what I get out of that is the ability to adjust an options position over and over and over again to collect profit in the meantime and never leave a position. So I can continue to flip in and out of credit spreads on that. I can take the position off. I can roll it into a condor. I can do many, many things with just adjusting that strategy rather than opening and closing it. All right, looks like we're getting accumulation here. We could set up a quick bearish 1-for-1 out of this. So,
good morning.
Morning. So watch for a possible sell signal to come in here, and if we get it, we'll breach support. That'll be leg, and then your expected move would be down here to 426.50.
So Jeremy, you put that the fib resistance speed fan from 947 from the day before.
I've been moving it as we go. So I go and find a common line every time we compress. So like here we had compression.
Can you put it on the 955 and go up?
Yeah.
You can use it off that the lowest right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you can walk it up. Don't have the common trend line here yet though.
Oh.
So when you got an under, at, and over here, you could put it on, but you're not going to get these levels that you're expecting here. You could go and put an inverted fan in here if you wanted to see what the bear move would be expected, but I think we're going to be bullish above the liquidity zone here, and that's this whole area here.
Will you explain what you mean by the common trend line, Jeremy?
Just anywhere you see a consolidation, like here we had a consolidation, the common trend line is just lining up these three touches. So you got 1, 2, and 3. And then just extend it out and then walk it to your next level. When you start the fan, your little brown zone here is going to be, the center of that is going to be your common trend line. And then everything else is going to be a fib deviation from that trend line. So if we get the bearish 1-for-1, we'll accumulate here and break over, but it's actually looking like we may get a continuation.
So, sorry, Jeremy, you know you're talking about your liquidity zone.
Yeah.
Find that on a 45-minute chart by any chance?
This particular one,
Yeah.
I think this is all the way from my daily chart, believe it or not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Since we're going to be a couple more bars in accumulation here, I can go find it in a moment. Unless we break here. Whenever you have a trend and you see this little rounding here, this is the definition of cup and handle. It's a continuation pattern. And all it's got to do is break its resistance level, and then you get two rim lines. You get one here and one here. Let's see if we get follow through on that. Dang, this is like dead zone. It's so slow here. I know if I go and look at the daily chart, like right now, this thing will pop real quick and I'll miss it. Got a nice tight Bollinger Bands here. They're just compressing. You know, wait for the opening. And they'll usually pop real quick. Like here it's saying a long entry. All of a sudden, I don't buy that yet until I see a continuation above resistance. Back to the common line one more time. So that would have been everybody's stop taken out on a buy entry here. And then watch for continuation when it breaches resistance, and the resistance is just the top of the consolidation here. So 426.98 or whatever. Swag it. We're going to wait for that signal. We're not going to take and trust this just yet. There we go. Now we're getting right to it. Watch it print a sell entry up here. There it is. Wrong. Wait for it. I wouldn't sell that. Always wait for the consolidation to break either resistance or support.
What is that B band SE -2? What does that mean?
So it's abbreviated, so it stands for Bollinger Band Sell Entry.
Oh, you're using Bullishbrs band indicator. Got it.
Right. And it says -2 because it's -2 deviations from the Bollinger Band itself, because Bollinger Bands are 2 deviations from the 20 period. So technically it was accurate. So it went from the upper band to the 20 period pretty cleanly. But I wouldn't have taken it there because you wouldn't be able to get that fast enough on a 5-second. But now we're breaching resistance. Now we're in a buy entry right off of this break. And there's your first leg expectation, which is first rim line of a cup and handle, right to the control bar. There you go, or 27.15, and right to the fib. Continuation of the second cup or rim line would be right to the previous high. So extension would be 427.28. So it was a nice clean little long entry here, just for a couple points, not really big. But this would have been a bad sell entry right here. We wicked the extension and we broke over, look for a retracement. There's your 20 period bounce. We got continuation. Cool. So we'll go for one more line right up to the rim line. Bam. Nice. We might even get a 1-for-1 out of this, which will be right up here at about 427.50. So the idea is when you're adding these Bollinger Bands, you don't necessarily follow the signals they give you. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But when you can confirm where your fast fib lines are, you can get a really good read, and you could be smarter than these guys. So you can catch that common trend line here. It stayed above it, and trade the break. So yes, it did print a bar above this, but it said sell. No way. I'm going to wait for the buy. I want to wait for the breach of previous resistance, which is top of this accumulation across to all 3 of these points. There was your buy signal right there. Boom. Made an exact rim line play. So this is your trend. Your 1-for-1 was done. This is a cup and handle, as rough as it looks. And it reached right to the rim line, 1 and 2. And then exceeded it with a deviation break above previous resistance with a wick.
Sculpted that last part of the push up there. Got $20.
Nice work. But this is a really neat way to get just a little bit more edge on your fan lines. And you know, if you call this a money fan, this is training wheels to your money fan. And I've always referred to Bollinger Bands as like having a set of training wheels on your price action trading. They're not always dead on with their signals though, so you want to make sure you know what they're telling you here. And the first part is you have expansion, where the Bollinger Bands get further apart. It means increased volatility. And then you have compression. You have a consolidation zone. Bollinger Bands get narrower and narrower. When they start to deviate away from each other again after a compression, you're likely to get a signal. And our signal that we were looking for, because we know better than to just take the built-in signals, was a break above resistance. And that break above resistance right here, our 8 period told us, cool, we're likely to trend here. Upper band said we're within range. We don't have any sell signals picking in here. And we went right to the first rim line, and also it lined up with our fan from 1 deviation from our common trend line. Target was met right here. We got a pull back to the 20 and an extension right back to the upper Bollinger Band with a wick. But it also went, if you look at the body, line 2 is right here. And that was the cup rim line right here. That was just this body here. And we got an extension just outside of it. So typically on a cup and handle, you'll get these. You'll get the rounding part, you'll get an extension up to the rim line, and you get the pullback. This is the handle part of it. Now it's saying long entry here, right? Well, we're just below our common trend line, so we're going to wait for a breach above that common trend line to take an actual buy entry. Even though the 200 period's right here. Usually the handle will give us 2 plays. It'll give us 1 to the mean, so you get a quick bull move to the mean, which would be about 427.15. There we go, above the common trend line. And the mean, when I say mean, it's mean of consolidation, so about the middle of the consolidation. Swag that. Don't be to the penny, but be close. Boom, target met. Oftentimes it'll pull back and consolidate a couple more bars along this common trend line. And then you get your resume play where you get a bullish 1-for-1. So this would be leg 1. Leg 2 would put you almost to the top of the first deviation. Oh man, I'm missing some stuff. Nice. I'm missing the chat on the YouTube channel there. Sorry guys. Kevin's typing a bunch of stuff. Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Kevin. Good stuff. I've been so focused on my price action, I sometimes forget to look at the chat. All right, we might get a little buy signal. We might get our little 1-for-1 here. Really tight Bollinger Bands here. They pinched. No deal. We didn't break resistance. We'll probably consolidate a few more bars here. It is after 10. I'm going to go look at the grid and see what our 1 minute tells us. Let's see here. Known liquidities right in here. Came up a 2-for-1 with extension. Likely to revisit support here actually. So 426.90. That is strange. The 5-second on my grid here, it gives us slightly different. Bollinger signals here. Or am I just seeing things? I guess they're the same, just one's compressed, one's not. There we go. Okay, leg 1, leg 2, extension leg, compress. This is our handle. We're back to mean. That's not a good cell signal. Grid's going to tell us something different. That's not a cell signal. That is a buy signal right there. We're above the 8 period. We're likely to hit right to resistance, about 427.30. And then probably accumulate a couple bars before we get out of that. Bam, so we got a false signal here. That was not a good sell signal. We knew better. Right to previous high for resistance, like clockwork. Can we get a 1-for-1 out of this? Probably. Now we're above resistance. Wait for accumulation for at least a couple bars before you make that decision. No, we got nice widening bands. They're both curled up. Likely to continue to move. And that gives us a very fast 1-for-1. So let's mark it out real quick. One for one would be 427.68, 427.70. Let it accumulate here before you take that as a signal though. And apologies for any background noise here. I got a full house. Let's see, Kevin's still listening. Yeah, there we go.
Party time at your house all the time, huh?
Yeah, we got lots of summer fun for all the kids and stuff, and I got my niece crashing with us for a while and just having good times.
Are they done? Are they done school?
Yeah, everybody's done with school.
Oh, beautiful.
All of our celebrations going. We're looking forward to the 4th of July. Pretty quick here. We usually have a big bash at our local pavilion for the 4th of July. We get fireworks and live music and catering trucks and mobile
But
bar trucks.
we don't hear any noise. I don't hear any noise, to be honest.
It's weird. Like it filters it very nicely on Discord's noise filter, but for the YouTube broadcast on OBS, I can't quite get the noise canceling to work on that very well in concert with the stuff on the Discord channel. So I can have one or the other, but I can't have both. So background noise ends up on YouTube, and that's okay, I guess. All right. Failed our 1-for-1, but we're pulling back 50% for this leg here. Boom, we bounced off of it. No longer fail. We're getting volatile now, and there must be news coming at 10:30. See if I can shake anything out. Wholesale. U.S. wholesales. Month-over-month actual 0.2% gain. Forecast was 0.9%. Previous was 2.1%. Blah, blah, blah. European Central Bank to hike deposit rate by 25 base points on June 15th to 3.5%, said all 59 economists. Oh, okay. That's about it.
I sold my house, Jeremy.
You did? Oh, congrats.
So I'm now free to not worry about things to trading.
That is
Congratulations.
awesome. Heck
Thanks,
yes.
guys.
Failed our 1-for-1, but look at this dive. Right back to support. Right back to our liquidity zone. Watch for a wick here. We might get a quick scalp back up on this. There's your long entry signal from Bollinger, but let's wait. We want to see that thing clear the 8 period before we can believe that signal. Cool, you'll be a U.S. citizen before long.
I've got to sell my residential house
There you go.
on it.
Nice, we're above the 8 period. Here it comes. Through the 20. Now the middle band is like, it's like an OR gate. So it's either going to break the 20 period and run a 1-for-1 to the upper band, or it'll bounce off the middle band and come back to support. In this case, it's run through it, 8 periods crossing, so we'll get our full 1-for-1 out of this move. Good signal. That little +2 is just stating 2 deviations. 2 deviations from the lower band is the 20 period. So that was telling you to sell here. But we know that we likely will get a measured move, which we've already gotten right here. 427.33. We would have been able to get a better trade than the signal. And we're right back to previous resistance, which is the mean of our consolidation of our expected 1-for-1 back here that failed. So now what? Do we get a full 1-for-1 out of this? We probably will. Or not 1-for-1, 2-for-1. So leg, consolidate, leg, 2-for-1's done right there. Nice. Ah, yes. Thanks for that, Kevin. Thanks for posting the watch list. I need to, I'll start producing my own watch list because I keep so tightly focused on just a couple, 3 equities. And currently it's Amazon and Tesla for me. I'll find some stuff to where I can add at least 2 more. I won't necessarily keep them all on a grid, but I can flash back and forth to them. But I'm very, very picky about my setups, and like I don't use scanners. I just kind of use a list that I watch for setups on. All right, so we finished our 2-for-1. Let me just borrow this. Okay, adjust that. Now move it. So, oh, give me the grab. No, that one. There we go. So that was 1. That was 2. Right to our sell signal or short entry. I don't necessarily believe in that short entry because we're very likely to accumulate here a couple bars. I would not go short until it breaches the 8 period. Now the other thing is you want to keep your stop tight with that 8 period because if it bounces off the 20, it'll come right back to it and take you out. This looks like a flag here. See, there's a little pennant and there's unfinished business. Top of the 2-for-1 takes us to 427.67, which we've hit, but we can hit it again. And look, the 8 period's holding. Not a good signal. Great signal here. Got our 1-for-1. We beat the signal on here. Plus 2 deviations. Nah, we got 4. So this is where the conglomeration between the Bollinger Bands and the fan works out pretty well. But you can also use your basic measured moves in play as well. Let me flash over to our 5-second fan again. Alright, so there's that same buy signal. And I'm a little bit expanded here. Where'd it go? Well, there's 2 deviations to your 20. There's your plus 2. There was 4 right back to our common trend line. And if you wanted to ride the extension on that, if you were crazy enough to not take this as a get the hell out signal, and you went and continued, you got a 2-for-1 out of that and went right to their next sell signal. So this is where it gives you an edge, because you can take and find where all the fib levels are. You know where the common line is. You know where the extension is. You know where it's likely to reject. And you're ahead of the game. Now we're back to, they're saying a long entry here. I don't think so. Not yet. We're just under that common line. If this accumulates and breaks down, we'll likely get a bearish 1-for-1 and accumulate down here about halfway to the next deviation. Unless we breach the 20 period, which we can. But we're not jumping on that signal until we see our signal. And this is our common trend line. We've rejected it twice now. Bad signal. Guess what? I was right. Right back to our control area right here. So that is the gist of it. I mean, it wasn't very exciting the way I portrayed it, but you know where all those levels are. And you know that these are just basically training wheels. So you can get your signals from the Bollinger Bands. And if you're very nimble, you can take trades on them and get little tiny moves out of their signals. Okay. But I would rather capture those 1-for-1s, because I know those 1-for-1s are much more reliable than just a simple Bollinger Band 2 deviation play. And definitely pay attention to what price action is telling you and let it override what you see on your Bollinger signals. Because you know that you do not want to go and take a long entry here. You just know. You want to wait for it to come back above our common trend line. And it sure as hell didn't. So we have a rounding top here. Now this can be interesting because usually these will be looking bearish until they're not. So it wouldn't surprise me if we came off of this back up to here and got a buy signal all of a sudden. That didn't print one here. Let's see, will it tap the lower band again? Maybe. I know if it hits this guy here and bounces, we'll likely get a buy signal here. And like I said, we don't trust it till it comes back above the 8 period. However, this is looking like it's come back to mean already. So we might actually get a return back to the common trend line. There we go, mean breached. There was your mean right here. Watch a couple bars. Nope, not yet. Back to the 200 though. I want to see the lower band meet, and I want to see them print a long entry right down here. When I say them, I guess I'm just referring to the algo that prints this Bollinger Band for you. It runs on the same math that John Bollinger himself wrote to explain the Bollinger Bands, which is just, it's a volatility indicator. So you see increase and decrease in volatility, and then you see price action likely to rebound off of the Bollinger Band, sort of similar to bumpers on a bowling lane or training wheels. Like you lean into one side, the kid will usually lean to the other side. So like, you know, if they're on the left wheel here, they're on the right wheel here. Okay, and then the tire on the bike is, of course, the 20 period. You don't always have clean signals on it because things are quite seemingly random when it comes to just price action and Bollinger Bands. But if you have a set of data that you can trust, like your fib bands here, you can note that those signals can be taken with a grain of salt. You can say, yes, good signal. You can say, no, bad signal. Or, let's take our profit here. Okay, this a good signal? Hell no, we didn't buy that. Back to our deviation. Now we might have a good signal. And it didn't print one yet. I'm surprised. I'll wrap this up in a few minutes and get on with our day. I still got to put together a little watch list, and I think I will. I'm surprised it didn't give us a buy signal here, and it's wrong because it breached the common zone here. We might get one down here though. I might go so far as to put another fan together here.
What makes you want to start another fan, Jeremy?
Just that we're accumulated. So like we're starting to get some compression in here. So we've had expansion. Now we're starting to get some compression. So we could technically start a fan with our common line here. Just along these guys. The other thing is that we could actually come back to our liquidity zone here and we can print a fan this way too. It can be a bear fan.
I made my $35 for the day. I'm gonna call it a...
Sweet. Good deal. There was a missed opportunity for a signal right there. Nice. 50% retracement. Nailed.
So if there's accumulation, it's a good idea to see how long it accumulates for and start a new fan, yeah?
Typically, yes. So like we could go and we can pick any accumulation really. We could start here. We could start here. If you're wanting to see, or if you think you're seeing a reversal here, you could certainly print a bearish one here. Or you could print a bearish one here. It's all going to be on preference. But the point is, anytime you see accumulation, you can know that things are likely to change.
Am I right in thinking that if you've got a trend in either direction as well, then current fan, so it kind of, it's more relevant for a trend that's already in effect. Yeah, okay. I can see it moving along the orange there. So if it sort of deviates too much from the orange band,
right,
then start something new, yeah? Exactly.
And it's just going to be also on what time frame you're looking at too. So if you want to trade this trend, leave it alone because you're still in the trend. But if you want to catch the little scalps of the 1-for-1s, you'll want to have a better, tighter fan on whatever previous accumulation you can find. So I could build one here. I'll throw one on and then take it right back off. So just to kind of get an example. So like here we have, where's our common line? There.
Are you using a wolf wave sort of line to start that?
We're just using a common trend line. So we got a touch here, a touch here, and a touch here. And we can extend it. There's a touch here, a touch here, a touch here. We can find a common trend or a common angular support.
Wherever there's the most touches, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Now this is getting very confusing, so I'm going to take this off. But we're still basically within our first fan from the open, or from where we opened it here at the 945, 946 candle. All right, so there's a missed opportunity for a sell signal for 50% retracement right here that just happened. That's done. Right with that wick. And from here to like 11, it's going to likely just be very subtle plays. You can get little quick 1-for-1s, but you're not going to get really any massive moves yet. Not till probably after 11. But I'm all about keeping it as simple as possible, and that's where you get the edge, is when you can see, even though it's given you very simple signals, they don't always play right. But if you add just a simple fib fan, you can see which ones are valid and which ones aren't very clearly. And with enough practice, you'll be able to override these too. Here we got a cell entry right here. It says, I don't know if I trust that fully. Sure, it'll go two deviations and test the 20 period, very likely, but I'm not going to sell that just yet. I want to wait for what happens with our baseline. This is our common trend line up here. This is our baseline from one deviation outside of that common trend line. And we've made a 1-for-1 here. We've pulled back. 50% retrace was pretty damn close. We acquired another leg, hit the extension. Then it gave us a sell signal? No. We're likely to continue back above after a support test, which was previous resistance here. So we're very likely to finish a move up to the next resistance zone, right up here at 427.62-ish. Just kind of looking left. Boom, done. Bad sell signal. And check this out. This is like one, even though it's split. We got the 1-for-1 here, and we got a full 1-for-1 after accumulation here. So it's just a matter of putting things in your own perspective and getting enough practice to figure out a simple fact of, you don't have to take every signal, and you'd rather wait for something with a higher probability, and that's where you see the signals a little more clearly for yourself when you notice where there's significant price action moves. So you got a leg here, you got a retrace here, and a leg here. That is much, much more reliable than following this. If you would have sold here, you would have got spanked if you stayed in it too long. All right, well, I'll try and throw together a webinar on this at some point to be a little bit more precise with the information I'm trying to portray in this, but it's fairly choppy this morning, so it's been very tricky and challenging to trade all this, but it's still relevant. And I'll make sure I test my audio the next time I go to broadcast on YouTube. I'm sorry about that again, guys. Seems every time I have a software update, I got to deal with that. Wowie, we're getting extension. And we might get a sell signal right up here. Get a short-term double top and then a pullback to probably 427.50. No, not even. We're just going to get the full sell back. All right, well, I'm still not 100% from being sick yesterday. I'm still kind of recovering. And I'm coming off like Ben Stein over here, all boring and monotone. So I will conclude today's broadcast. Thanks for joining us. And hopefully I've got a lot of good information out there for you guys to take advantage of. And just something a little different, a little new, but the most important thing to take from it is simple. And simple is fast, and fast is efficient. So if you guys can take that from today's broadcast, that's exactly my intention. As for a watch list, I'll put that together real quick and get something out there for you guys. I'm going to go and spin through a few big caps and see if I can find some good trades. And I'll, of course, put those out on our Twitter channel. Be sure and check that frequently because we do throw a lot of stuff out on our social media that is awesome. And internally, we also give a lot of one-on-one, as you hear, like we get a lot of back and forth audio with our members here, and we pull off a lot of webinars without trying that way, because every time we broadcast our live stream, it plays off like a webinar. We get the Q&A every day, and that's what we do internally with our members. We are constantly doing everything we can to be as helpful as possible to everyone. So anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow, and keep an eye out for that watch list. And of course, those of you who are in our Discord, feel free to tag me, hit me up, ask me questions. No problem. I'll be around all day. I don't think I need to
Thanks,
go take a
Jeremy.
nap today. Anytime.
Thank
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy.
No worries. I'll
Take care.
I'll do my best to take care. It's been kind of, yeah, I don't want to go into details of being sick, but yeah, it's not fun.
No, you go and take care of yourself, Jeremy. Thanks for everything.
Definitely. I think I'm gonna eat some light lunch here. It'll be like the first meal I've had in a little while, so it'll be good.
Soup.
Yes. That is the mother of all cures right there.